All right. Up next was supposed to be the Usos versus Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil, or as apparently now they're known as Slater and the Gator. But the Usos are on their way out and they get ambushed by the Wyatt family, and this match never even starts.
Thank you, Wyatt family.
I know, right? It's like, why would you let Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil get TV time? It makes no sense.
Slater and the Gator. I hate it already. I hate its face.
As if
But,
Uso crazy t-shirts weren't enough.
oh, please don't bring that up.
Hey, it's relevant. We're talking about the Usos now. We might as well just nip it in the bud.
I know. I'm still trying to learn how to block things out. But yeah, the Wyatt family decimate the Usos here. The best moment, Luke Harper throws one of the Usos, we'll call him Uso, right? Because I've just loved that system we've been using the past, I think 2 weeks now, against the security barricade.
Righty and lefty.
Righty and lefty. And Harper nails a big boot that sends him over the barricade. It was absolutely wonderful. Harper murdered him. I thought this was a great segment to have because here's the thing. I think it's alluding to the fact that they are having a 2 out of 3 falls match at Battleground. If anybody expects that match to be kept together, you're kidding yourselves. It is going to break down into a melee, and I think that's illustrating that when it does get in that type of environment, Edge, Wyatt's.
Yep. I hope they win.
Oh, you and me both. Just like Money in the Bank. I hope they win. Yeah. So bad.
Yeah. All right. So up next, the hottest segment of the night, Rusev and Lana versus Zeb and Jack Swagger in some kind of a political debate. I don't even know what to call it. It was really just Lana running down America for 5 minutes and then Zeb saying "America rules" for 30 seconds and winning the crowd over.
Pretty much, and the shame of it is, and again, I don't want to be...
Oh, and don't forget, I was laying face down in the muck for you people, basically pulling a freaking Walter from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, pretty much. And, the shame of it is that I don't know how many fans just genuinely are patriotic and buy into it and get into it, or how many just want to contribute to the narrative in the most natural way possible. But Lana actually did a good promo here, mainly because she brought up legitimate critiques against the U.S. And see,
that was the great thing about it too, is that she made so much sense. She was basically even calling out the U.S. for being like trying to be the world police and everything. It's just, yeah, Lana actually made some good points. You could tell she took some notes for this debate tonight.
And see, this is why, and it's so funny because I've always been, especially since he's taken on the Zeb character, I've always been so praiseworthy of Dutch Mantel. It almost got to the point where I thought, well, you can't even insult the man. It's not possible. But he kind of annoyed me tonight, if I'm going to be honest, because he went for the typical route, just like you said, Ashton. America rules! Yeah! And you had so much material, though, against the Russians.
Yeah,
you know?
He could have brought up Stalin. He didn't bring up Stalin, John. How do you have a debate about whether your country is better than someone else's, and that other country happens to be Russia, and you don't bring up Stalin?
Doesn't bring up Stalin, doesn't bring up the space race, doesn't bring up the Berlin Wall, doesn't bring up anything. Anything.
Stalin, John. The only man in history who's pretty much globally recognized as not jokingly being literally worse than Hitler.
Yeah, it's said by so many people, because so many people would say, oh, Hitler was an atrocity. Don't get me wrong, Hitler was a vile human being, but Stalin killed more people than even he did. So they said,
I think it was like 5 times more, too. That's the thing.
I think it was, yeah, the body count was by a large volume. And to not even bring that up, maybe, see, and that's the thing. That, I think, is always the downside, Ashton, when you do programs like this, because to be perfectly honest, and I know you and I have remarked over and over again, we'd beat a dead horse with it, we can't believe patriotism still sells, is still a viable thing in 2014. But the thing is, these programs, I think, can work at their absolute best when you're allowed to be brutally honest and lay it all out there. And I'm just wondering if maybe Zeb didn't invoke those arguments because maybe WWE is just trying to be PC and doesn't want to dredge up things of the past to that degree. I thought it was also a misstep when Zeb, invoked the image of Obama, saying, whether we like him or not, we always respect the presidency. I thought because he seems to be more, quote-unquote, conservative, maybe he'd highlight past great leaders, like Lincoln, Reagan, whatever. I don't know. I just felt like his arguments really fell flat to me and really appealed to the lowest common denominator, whereas Lana, who we criticized just last week, or no, I think it was 2 weeks ago because they weren't even in the building that week because it was in Canada, for not being able to keep up with Zeb. Here tonight, I thought it was the other way around, and I'm shocked that I'm saying that.
Well, it basically it comes down to it feels like Lana prepared, and Zeb just came into it knowing how easy of a job he has because he's literally just standing up for America in America. And it was one-sided. Lana had information. She had legitimate points. Zeb had Mark rules, and that's about it.
And,
and of course, the cheap pop for the fact that he was in the Vietnam War.
Right.
It's tough to call that a cheap pop because it's actually true from what I understand. But still, you don't need to bring it up. You know what I mean? We get it. Okay, thank you. Awesome. But still, keep it to yourself.
I just felt like his promo where he quizzed them on the history of Russia, where he said, who won the space race, who did this, who did that, and he goes, it wasn't a Russian. That promo was better than what we got here, and I wish we got something more along the lines of that. We didn't, but regardless, Ashton, it doesn't really matter what you and I think, because this arena ate it up.
Yep.
I mean, big time. You would have thought it was freaking Meow Mix, how they were eating this up. You even said, sometimes to me, it just really seemed like the hottest angle in the company going right now.
Yep.
When Zeb was like, everybody please rise, put your hand over your heart, and say along with us, we the people, so many people did it, it almost seemed unanimous. That arena, man.
It was, honestly, dude, this is the closest the WWE has gotten to the yes chance in since the frickin' Steel Cage episode with Daniel Bryan turning back into a face and beating up Bray Wyatt.
Oh, that was glorious.
But this is the closest they've gotten to that since then.
I wonder how Swagger felt in the back of his mind, because soon, this segment does break down. Swagger and Rusev go at it. Swagger takes down Rusev. Rusev, though, seems to be in control. Goes for a super kick to Swagger. Swagger catches it in the Patriot lock. The crowd explodes.
Absolutely.
And I'm just wondering what he's thinking in the back of his mind, holy shit, I'm over. This is what it feels like.
I'm finally gonna get my capture finisher.
Yes, dreams do come true in America. USA. And then, of course, Rusev is able to escape. You know what the funny thing is? I am looking forward to their match at Battleground, but what scares me is what happens when this feud concludes? I mean, do people just stop caring about Zeb and Swagger? Do they go fight for patriotism elsewhere? Do they break up? That's really what I'm looking at this point in time.
I think Rusev's going to win.
Oh, I think Rusev's going to win wholeheartedly. I'm not betting.
Well, I mean, the heel winning automatically means the babyface gets to continue the feud.
That is true. So
this is going to be a SummerSlam match.
I just hope that at SummerSlam it's not the flag on a pole match or something. Let's just keep it to another wrestling match. But yeah, great segment, mainly because this is where the crowd really came alive and were participatory just on every level. So excellent job to them, and I wish these guys the best of luck at Battleground.
Yep. So up next we had a very, very brief backstage segment. Roman Reigns backstage. John Cena walks in, starts yapping his ears off, and Roman Reigns just isn't paying attention because he doesn't care because he handles his business on his own time, not John Cena's time. And then Cena yells at Reigns to stand up, and just John Cena being John Cena, really. Reigns said they took out one of us, but we'll take out 3 of them by the end of the night. Believe that.
Yeah, you pretty much said it. Roman Reigns is awesome because, he speaks short and succinct and, carries out what he says. John Cena's trying to be, I guess, some kind of locker room leader or something now that he's got the gold. Nobody wants to hear it, John. No one cares. All right, do you want to move on?
Alberto Del Rio versus RVD. Do you want to move on?
Absolutely. If you've seen one RVD versus Alberto Del Rio match, I literally think you've seen all of them. And yes, for those of you wondering, I was once again incorrect in my prediction. Ricardo Rodriguez did not turn on Rob Van Dam. Quite shocked.
Nikki Bella versus Cameron and Alicia Fox in a handicap match.
I almost want to ask you again if you want to move on.
Well, Alicia Fox has a cool new finisher at least.
Yeah, you finally got to see it, dude, because I loved it when she first debuted. I believe it was against Oksana on an episode of SmackDown. Actually, the only worthwhile thing to point out here in this match, and I know I can't believe I said that sentence either, is that Stephanie comes out and she really rides Nikki into the ground on the microphone, saying...
No, she didn't. She didn't ride Nikki into the ground. She rode Brie into the ground in front of Nikki.
Well, I felt like she rode Nikki into the ground, like emotionally, like telling her, you have no backup, your sister's
Right.
gone, she did this to you,
Yeah.
this and that, like, but certainly putting the blame on Brie Ash, I completely agree, but the emotional abuse is really being inflicted upon Nikki, and then I looked to you and I said, well, that to me just confirms that Nikki Bella is turning heel on Brie at some point when she returns, and you seem to concur, so we'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, Cameron and Alicia Fox, they have the women's advantage with the one extra partner. Alicia hits her finisher on Nikki. They get the win. Cameron has a match on the Battleground kickoff show against Naomi. Neither of these other women seem to have anything to do. So, yeah, there's that.
There is that indeed, John. There is that indeed. So, up next, we had a backstage segment. Or no, actually, up next was the announcement about Sting being in WWE 2K15. But again, who really cares? It's just a video game.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. I think it's really cool he's going to be a part of it, but I think fans were expecting a little something more, and I think this just completely killed them ever really coming back into the show, at least for me.
Yeah, dude, this really was the point where the crowd went from reasonably into the show to just, and I mean, it was ruthless too, because it was like, you go from that amazing according to this crowd, segment with Zeb and Swagger, and then you give them RVD versus Del Rio for the umpteenth time, and then they frickin' plug the network and the CM Punk frickin' DVD, and that gets the crowd all hyped up about that. And then you give them the 2-on-1 Divas match, and then you tell them that Sting is going to be in the frickin' video game, but he's not there tonight. Like, just ruthlessness, man. They're trying to kill this crowd, it feels like.
I just feel like it was a horrid use of the name Sting. Again, I'm happy he's in the video game. I think it's brilliant marketing. But the first time you formally advertise him in a WWE context, and that's what you choose, absolutely awful. So, yeah, nothing more to say than that.
He should have just randomly shown up at Battleground and been like, hey guys, I'm in the video game. Or even SummerSlam. See, that's the thing. SummerSlam's in a month. Why couldn't you wait till then?
Because they're idiots, Ashton.
No. Because they have to sell the video game.
I mean, but see, here's the thing, though, dude. I don't understand why they couldn't have waited until SummerSlam, because the game doesn't come out till October. And I get it. You would have only
really? I thought it came out in August.
No, it always comes out in October. Always.
Huh. See,
yeah.
I've literally never bought a 2K15 or a 2K WWE video game, but I'm seeing here October 30 or 28th. I almost said October 38th. That makes so much sense.
No, because like I said at the beginning, I've consumed those games ridiculously. I've kind of slowed down a bit because they move up in consoles and then it becomes a little bit more difficult. But I did get 2K14. Probably going to get 2K15 if everything shakes out well.
Yeah, it's going to be available for PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, and Xbone.
The funny thing is they were originally going to release this game to coincide more with WrestleMania, and I felt like that would have been a very smart marketing strategy, but then they just decided, no, let's keep it with October. So yeah, I don't understand why they couldn't have waited till summer. I think your contention still stands from where I'm sitting. Screw that.
Yep.